tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Lingalui here reporting for the first ever NZTN news report. New Zealand True News. I'm here just to tell the truth and nothing else but the truth. Before I go any further, this is totally independent, all my idea, no one else's thing. It's just me, myself and I. I'm doing all the work from the research to video editing, cut, edit, paste, the whole social media, everything. I'm putting everything all together, okay? So if you can, please support me on Patreon. I'll love to do this as a full-time gig. This will be awesome to get the news out there because I don't see anyone else doing this sort of thing out there. This has got to happen from the horse's mouth because why? I've been living abroad for the last 5 years and internationally throughout 3 different continents, and let me tell you one thing, the image of New Zealand is still perfect. They still believe Mother Jacinda is doing the best job in the world and everyone is perfect and there's nothing wrong here. We need to show the world what's going on and that we can also stand up for what we believe in, what's right. Freedom of choice, freedom of expression, freedom to choose. End of story. Anyway, please support me if you can. That'd be all really awesome. If you can't support me through Patreon, please share. Share is the best thing you can do because sharing can get people to see what the reality is of here in New Zealand and internationally because we're now connecting bigger than ever. It's really, really awesome to see people collecting on a whole nother level of consciousness. That's a whole nother thing. But anyway, let's get to it, okay? As of Monday, the 15th of November, one of the saddest losses of New Zealand, for New Zealand. There were thousands of jobs lost, well, still lost, getting lost as well. We're talking healthcare workers and the education sector in particular. There's already articles of principals saying it's some of the saddest days ever because they're just seeing literally like, you know, tens of teachers just walk out and you're just like, oh damn, okay, what do we do now? You know, who's going to replace them? You know, firefighters, who's going to put fires out? Policemen, who's going to stop the crimes? You know, ambulance drivers, who's going to get to someone? I mean, it's just a dominoes effect of what happens. You can just imagine. And something's really interesting. You can check out Paul Joseph Watson's YouTube channel, and this video in particular, I'll put a link in the description. It gives you an eye opener of what happens when you mandate this and what the situation afterwards. It's a pretty messy situation. My heart and soul literally goes up for these people. I'm not even joking. I really feel for you guys, but what I do feel, more importantly, and I know you do too, is how proud I am that you have stood up for what you believe in. Honestly, you don't ever give up and always do what you think is right. Especially in times like this, especially with the uncertainty of what this is. You know, something like example of this article that I found, New York said to lose up to 70,000 healthcare workers due to the vaccine mandates. Now, just to put into quick perspective, why would, you know, the people that were called here as last year and, you know, 6 to 10 years studying at university to work, you know, some of them 20 up to, I personally know, 40 years in the industry, and then because of one vaccine, they quit their job. I don't think they saw that coming. They knew, you know, they work in the industry for being on the front line of they say the world's biggest pandemic, and yet they don't want to take the vaccine for it. Doesn't that like concerning when you think like they would want to? Why would so many leave? I mean, 70,000, you know, the estimated workers they're not being vaccinated in New York, 70,000, about 16% of the 450,000 total number of healthcare workers just in New York alone. Imagine America, imagine globally. It's a really big domino effect. If you look at the pre-COVID stats as well, we've got, you know, back in the 6th of May, 2020 of last year, you know, COVID-19 lockdown wipes billions from New Zealand's economy. We're talking, you know, new forecasts released on Wednesday reveal the extent of the economic damage caused by COVID-19 lockdown restrictions. The Reserve Bank believes $10 billion has already been wiped under the Alert Level 4 and the fully lockdown likely slashed 30% of New Zealand's economy for that 4.5 weeks. That was last year in May. We're now in November of 2021. Holy. No more words. I can't say anymore. Anyway, hopefully we can get some more statistics on how many thousands of jobs have been lost, and hopefully I can talk to some coming up on Saturday. You're going to see some real and much more interviews coming soon. I'd like to announce, which is like yay, and like, oh, it's the Auckland border's opening up, which is great. I mean, it's really cool. It's good for people, but at the same time, yeah, it's restricted, obviously, because it's open to be lifted on the 15th of November, but people will be able to travel to and from Auckland from December 15th if they have received both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine or have returned of it with negative test. So that's the green light for Christmas travel. So people traveling out of Auckland who are fully vaccinated or test negative for 72 hours before departure will be able to leave the city. Yeah, don't know how that's going to work out. But all I can say is awesome. I can probably see my mom, my brother, and all my other family and friends who are there. I've been waiting for like, you guys have been there for like 6 months in jail. It's like the new Melbourne now. What the hell's going on? I don't know. You guys, stop getting COVID. Like, come on. 27,000, well, close to 27,000 businesses lost. Closed in 8 months. 27,000, almost 27,000 businesses closed in 8 months. 8 months, guys. Like, what? Not even in the last 18 months, just 8 months alone. I'm guessing because of the last almost basically 6 months that Auckland's been in lockdown. That's been pretty crazy. I mean, that's a huge number. Worst thing is I couldn't get into the New Zealand Herald because they basically closed it off and you had to pay your way in to check out the full article. As you can see there, yeah, for great journalism, I ain't gonna pay crap, you know. I should be able to see it as a public person, and everything else that any other article was talking about the New Zealand Herald article. So the only thing I could find was going back to the Right Watchman.
In the middle of a pandemic, the government have decided they want to seize your local water assets and put them into the hands of unelected, co-governed entities. They're calling these reforms Three Waters, but won't tell you the 3 dangerous consequences of higher water costs, unnecessary bureaucracy and no local control. Councils across New Zealand and independent analysis have said no to these reforms. Three Waters, zero gain. Get the facts at stop3waters.nz and tell them no.
I'm not sure if you guys ever heard about it, but they are the drinking waste and stormwater. 67 councils and 67 councils control of it since beginning of time, and now it's going to go to 4 authorities. Now, mind you, who are the authorities? Couldn't really find anything on it. China already owns some of our greatest assets in New Zealand, including some of the water. I mean, who knows if it's going to go to them again? So, something to be worried about, something you should check out. I highly recommend. Going into international news, Melbourne, kill the bill. Highly recommend looking into it as well. Kill the bill if you want to help anyone that you know. Obviously, a lot of us here in New Zealand have friends and family in Melbourne. You can sign the bill of just, eliminating the powers that Dan is getting by next week. Because it's becoming a debate now. He thought he could just get it handed over to, but obviously it's not that easy. And yeah, it's pretty absurd. And funny enough, I found the screenshot of someone's story. You can see here, map checking crowd size estimation. This tool helps to estimate and fact check the maximum number of people standing in a given area. Now, this would be awesome to use of what would have been in Wellington, because that would have been very interesting to see how many would have been an estimate of a real estimate turning up. And so what they've used, there's surface area of whatever square meter, blah, blah, feet, crowd density, and it was definitely packed, that's for sure. And we're looking at 138,000 people. Now, there's people that have been staying and sleeping there since Monday night to be there to Saturday. So you can just imagine how many people are going to turn up on Saturday. Yeah, it's going to be pretty gnarly. I reckon, yeah, probably the biggest movement Australia's ever had in history, just like we had ours back in Wellington last week, Tuesday. But yeah, if you want more insight, follow the real Rukshan and Avi from Rebel News. I highly recommend these guys. They're doing the real media, the real job, real news. Yeah, check it out if you want to look any further. Another news as well, Netherlands had just started their 3-week lockdown, yet the government vowed that they would never do lockdowns again.
This was the angry reaction in The Hague last night as a new lockdown was announced amid rising cases of COVID-19 across the Netherlands.
eerdere fases.
The Dutch Prime Minister telling his country the measures were inevitable and would be needed for 3 weeks. In Austria, a lockdown is being enforced just on the unvaccinated, police checking all customers in bars and restaurants have been jabbed. And Germany is deploying 12,000 soldiers to help with vaccinations and testing. Scientists here are divided about whether we'll soon face a spike in cases after recent falls.
Kind of bullcrap. I have a friend who is a cop in The Hague. Hopefully I can get an interview with him for next week's episode. And also mentioned to by a Polish friend of mine, and I didn't really look at it that way or believe it at first. I was like, what's this about? And then it's actually the tension between Belarus and Polish borders.
Tensions continue to rise on the Belarus-EU border as a crowd of 4,000 migrants tries to break through barbed wire fences using wire cutters, shovels and even tree trunks. Poland has increased the number of troops patrolling the border from 12,000 to 15,000 soldiers. The European Union accuses Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko of flying migrants from Iraq, Syria and beyond and busing them towards the border in order to destabilize the European Union.
This is a hybrid attack of an authoritarian regime to try to destabilize democratic neighbors, and this will not succeed.
Everyone seemed to have forgotten about Afghanistan now because no one's talking about it. So what happened to all the people that left Kabul and have gone and flown out of Afghanistan? Well, they've been sent to Europe and other places around the world, but now what's happening with that? As you've seen for yourself, it's pretty gnarly what's going on, and it creates a big issue that no one really sees. Because the problem is, like I saw in Italy with a lot of West African migrants, they come to Europe. That's great, okay. They escape their, hellhole or whatever they've come from, hell of a place that they obviously can't bear anymore because it's literally life-threatening. To now, they get there and there's nothing for them. There's no jobs, there's no housing, there's no nothing because they can't even support their own people. How are they meant to support other people? And that's the same thing that's trying to happen here, guys. It's not F off, we're full. It's sorry, we can't support you because we can't even support ourselves. That's the sore reality that people can't comprehend. In other news, we also have the US vaccine approved for 5 to 11-year-olds. Oh, and now they're arguing if they should be mandatorily wearing masks.
Country, it's a new chapter on COVID-19. Shots are rapidly going into arms, with the White House revealing nearly 1 million 5 to 11-year-olds have already received a dose and hundreds of thousands of appointments scheduled. The crush of jabs, combined with classrooms and communities seeing fewer infections, has led some school districts to remove mask mandates.
All I want is my child to be able to get a proper education without having to wear a mask.
This as the CDC director warns that pulling mask requirements might be premature.
I would say masks are for now, but they are not forever.
Nationwide, just over half the states have no rule on masks in schools. 17 require them, though some like Pennsylvania are about to ease those rules, and a few ban mandates altogether. That was the case in Texas until a federal court just forced Governor Greg Abbott's hand, ruling that banning mask mandates violates the constitutional rights of students with disabilities who might be more vulnerable to illness. And in Florida,
the only ones that have broken any laws are right in that building right there.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this week's news. Obviously not good stuff, but we're going to try and shine the light. And the light is that we can help each other and share the real media. And I can do this every week, and I'll be doing a lot more sort of stuff. Or if you want other topics to be talked about, I can bring it here on the stage. Just message me. Don't be shy to message me. I reply to everyone. I'm trying to, because I've been receiving a crazy amount of messages. I'm not even exaggerating. It's like, wow, like how do I keep up with this? Especially when I'm doing like 12 to 13 hour shifts at the current job that I'm doing. So look, what I've written in the comments, as I've mentioned before, either way, the MSM, mainstream media will always find an angle to attack us. What was displayed on our 9/11 was almost a perfection of an event. It showed the nation's true colors, unity, strength, and humbleness. Not one soul was hurt, not one. Yet they still ridiculed us. Their bully tactics will only continue. We have to be stronger than them. This is how we're going to win. Always look to our whānau in Melbourne. Their spirits have never been higher through the world's toughest lockdown restrictions. We can do this. Kia kaha, Aotearoa. Anything else? Like I said, message me. I'd love to hear from you guys. Take care, stay strong, and you're going to see some more amazing content coming soon. And please, please, please like, share, subscribe, comment, follow, whatever you've got to do. And if you can, Patreon even better. They'll give me more resources to do what I can keep doing. I keep going on to do. Okay? Ka kite anō. What's up, I'm Terrell.